do do do. Da na 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 na. Wow. Unfortunate. It's go time. Apple's paywalled garden is not secure comms. True. Apple's paid walled garden is a super problem. And actually, the funny thing about it is Apple is kind of the issue. On the end-to-end encrypted side, they're like pretty adamant of not sharing the source code to make RCS work. I believe if I remember correctly, when I was there was some drama when RCS was getting some major support for running alongside with Apple's ecosystem. And it's unfortunate. I think end-to-end encrypted communications should be the default standard. Secure comms would be most likely Signal, or we're gonna look and to see what offers Signal, Session, Wire. I think Wire is Talks Chat is another one. XMPP and Matrix are both secure comms, but Signal are most likely better. I don't think all of the messaging platforms that use XMPP and Matrix are by default. And then Threema is another one, and then there's SimpleX. Well, XMPP with OEM and Matrix with OLM. Yeah, and I believe it's on the messengers, like the client-side messaging option, where it's up to them to incorporate it. They're not bad. They're not bad options. They're just not. They're not the best. I mean, they're decentralized. They're decentralized. Yeah. OMEMO is an XMPP extension. I mean, we could look at. It's quite sad, though, like how much people rely on SMS. And hey, Boomer, what's up, man? It's kind of sad that we are at kind of like a point where people literally pick their cell phone device because of like FaceTime or like iMessage or just very arbitrary things that shouldn't matter, and then they always end the conversation with, well, I have nothing to hide, so it doesn't matter. That's kind of my point on like why it's bad. Maybe people will find this and they'll make their own decision. We'll look more about like why you should self-host your own service. The cool thing is with SimpleX, if you don't like their policies or anything, you can kind of self-host your own relay. It's apparently not super hard. I'm not entirely sure beyond the scope of it. I've never ran my own XMPP relay. I mean my own SimpleX relay, but some of their gooner autistic takes online are pretty bad. So like people are losing a little bit of trust in it. Even though I think SimpleX has an advantage, but Session is doing a W move. They're moving over. But I think Threema got bought by a huge company. But as long as it's end-to-end encrypted, that's kind of the better option. There's something called Talks too. Then there's Session. And then there's Signal. I have nothing to hide, motherfuckers, when the ID of age gets breached. When their ID from age checking. Yeah. Or like now, like what's going on is like people are invoking, not to get like political on this stream or anything, but they're invoking like ID, like stop an IDs, which if you're in a state that supports no ID, like a no stop ID, then you should invoke that right. I think all states should be able to invoke a no stop, no ID. Interesting. Clawmail and Pigeon are also cool. Yeah, they are. But the problem with email is it doesn't fully encrypt all the metadata. That's the main issue with email encryption. I think it's possible as long as you have pretty good OPSEC and you make sure the connections that you're making are relatively private or secure. You're pretty well off. But the main problem with this is PGP has some failures, hence why it's not really recommended anymore for important stuff. Pigeon is cool. I should pull that up. It has been a minute since. Very Libre of them to be all over the place. Like, I got it this time. I locked in this time. So with the new advancements of chat control and these countries trying to scan your messages, I think people should relatively look for some secure options fuck? So I would say your better option is to kind of like find something before it becomes a little too late. I mean, this is the benefit of Android, is you can just not worry about the walled garden perspective, and you don't have to really necessarily be tied to like any platform. I think platform agnostic messaging services should exist more than not. One of the things I like about Pigeon is that it has a Matrix Discord plugin through. I don't use them. I only use libnotify plugin. Okay, cool. Wow, merchandise. I love the merchandise based. Ooh, they have free B. I like when I see free BSD options as well. Pigeons don't migrate. That's true. Wow, very based of them. Yeah, it's cooler to have like platforms that care about your not only just your privacy, but they allow you to connect across the board. I think that is better in the future. No Android option? I'm out. So we're gonna look at some. We use Conversations for Android. I know. Conversations is probably the best option when it comes to anything XMPP related. It's the best I've used. And actually, if you use JMP chat, jmp.chat, which is a way to get a number that's decentralized and relative a real U.S. phone number and kind of like in a private manner, they're pretty awesome. Conversation by default uses OMEO. Okay, encryption. Interesting. But I don't think it's turned on by default. You have to, if it's a group, you have to turn it on. I think it should be by. I've never done a Signal group. Weirdly enough, I think it's a little. I don't like group chats in real life with people because it gets messy and you got someone messaging you at the. I don't know. Not a fan of actual group chats. I think it's kind of lame. Big open source, big beers, brother. Hell yeah, hell yeah. Thank you, appreciate it. Now I can afford more big beers. We do love big beers in this house. No beer yet, not till I'm done with my thumb being a bitch. You don't realize once you get injured, you're like, I use both of my fingers. I use both hands equally and passionately. I use both hands and I love both of them. So we're going to look at some different options, and for this is not necessarily not for the U.S. people, but this is for people that come across that live in authoritarian countries. Even though the U.S. is probably heading that direction, I use my left thumb for spacebar, and if mine gets fucked, I'm fucked too. Really? You don't use your right? I want to think about what I use for the spacebar the most. I do use my left thumb. Wow. Sometimes, depending where my hand's at, I'll use my right hand too. Like, I didn't even think about spacebar. How did I get an honest number? We're gonna go over that. So there's a few options. I am working on the how to get a private Google account sorted out by doing tons of research, and for me it's always the left thumb. For me it depends what I'm typing and where my hands are. I'm not a traditional typer. So it kind of sucks too because it was going good in some aspect, and then it started going bad. Google rejected the number I tried, so I'm going to probably getting an anonymous Gmail account is becoming a little bit more increasingly difficult, and some of the websites I use don't they're not Tor friendly, so take that with as you will, in perspective. But it is getting a little bit harder to do it virtually. You might have to do it in person. In general, I'm not a traditional typer too. My typing style branches from touch typing, but basically never uses home rows. At least you're not like the boomer typers. They're like I know where my hands are supposed to be for key placement. I'm just not a fast typer because I can't spell and I'm retarded. But I know everyone thinks that you because you install Linux and you like the command line you're just ungodly at typing. Which, just because you touch computers doesn't mean you're good at typing. Typing is its own skill. You could be an excellent typer and terrible. I wish Signal had a better video call resolution. It's okay. It's not good. I haven't touched it in a long time because I don't like the idea of video calling, but it's pretty good. But yeah, no, I know what you mean. Try Jitsi, though. I think Jitsi would probably be better. What do you guys think about Brave Call? It's just Jitsi, I believe. No photo verification required. I'm not. No, if you do it via web browser, it does require phone verification. It's random. I believe Brave Call just uses Jitsi though. The point is to prevent spams. Google decides whether they want to verify you via phone or not. It's random. I don't think it's completely random, but it's random. I've definitely done it with and without phone. I've gotten it to work with and without phone verification. Like, well, and if you're doing it from your phone, if you're doing it with the phone, then now it's linked to that phone's first install identity, which is somewhat of a problem. When you do it from a browser on Tor or like Tails, this could be a more optimal solution versus using a phone that has multitudes of tracking. Brave Call is easily replaced by Jingle, P2P, XMPP multimedia calling extension, or Jitsi. Yeah, Brave Talk and Brave Call is cool, but yeah, I think it's just I think it's actually just Jitsi. I've never used Jingle though, and I'll prove it too. We'll do this. New identity. That's what I'm saying to do it on a burner Android. You go to Gmail app, create new account, and there's never a phone verification that way. There's no such thing as a burner Android unless you pay for it within cash. But again, you are now linking it to an Android device where if you go into the web browser to use this at a later date, for whatever reason, it will then possibly ask for verification through this burner Android and require you to have also a burner Android. I believe that is unrealistic, and to say that there's no phone verification that way, because based on what? That would be my my point. You are somewhat doing asking someone to have just a spare Android around versus like where most people could probably don't. In perspective, and even furthermore, what if I don't have a phone yet, or just in general? And saying there's never a phone verification that way is assuming that you assume that Google is not going to ask for this. Let's even look into like how does Google do its verification? Actually, we'll just do a Gmail. I've not used Jingle either. It's supposed to be an XP client when we use Pigeon in conversations. Gmail verification is diabolical. Well, they do it to prevent spam and abuse. That's all it is. So, and you go to the Gmail app and create a new account. This would also require you to have Google Play services installed on this burner app, and it just seems like actually Google could decide if they want to do it. Some fair points. I've been using the same 2 Androids to make multiple accounts daily for a long time. It's going to be fine. So a bit anecdotal for everyone. You're totally right. Because Google's, the only reason Google asks for verification is based on a few things. Create an account button is next to the left of the next button. Yeah. Oh yeah. And the thing is, Google only does this to prevent fraud and abuse. I don't think they're doing it to track people. I believe it's just a fraud and abuse like any other service, so that bots can't just sign up. So and because there's an overwhelming amount of bots on the internet, and there might be some form of metadata that Google could see that, oh, this is a real person because we've seen this IMEI before, we've seen this MAC address before, we've seen XYZ before. You know, that could be why you're getting the same results, because you're not really producing a different, unique looking situation, I guess, would be that would trip anything Google related. This is kind of why user agents are somewhat effective with Tor, because this might look like this resolution, this IP address, as long as it's not a known exit node. And the user agent might trick Google into thinking like, yeah, it's totally require Play services, doesn't work on emulators. It asks for a phone verification. Google might, in the case, might in this case, might be like, oh, this is just a regular Windows 10 account. Why do I need it? I made a Gmail account to use Gemini CLI, and then 2E verification is a piece of shit too. I can use Gemini on OpenCode CLI. I think the better option, the more alternative, the cheaper option is just to buy an inexpensive prepaid number with cash, and if you can online, preferably where you obtained your Monero. This seems like very convoluted, but it's not really that much. If the verification pops up, you can just verify with this number that you paid like $5-6 for. That would be, or SMS SATs was kind of like the go-to I was going to use, but it just doesn't really exist. And later down the line, if you have to log into this Google account via like web browser for whatever reason, because you're trying to use Gmail, quote unquote, privately or etc., or on your main Android device, there could be a 2-step verification that says, hey, we don't recognize the device. We now want you to use a phone number to verify because this looks suspicious, or we want you to verify on that burner phone, which, not saying it's going to correlate. I don't know how the verification, well, it would correlate it because you'd be logging in, and it would be Google timestamping it for security reasons to be like, hey, we had a Pixel 9 kind of log into this Gmail. Obviously, or like a Pixel, especially if you're running Graphene OS, that could be, remember that Piracy Anon protest? Remember that Piracy Anon protest? No, I don't know what you're referring to. Thanks for the $2, though. Remember that Privacy Anon? No, I do not. I don't know what you're referring to. Oh, thank you. Got to do the hearts. Love and appreciate. It was about privacy. No, I do not. I'm not entirely sure of that. So we'll do like a test right here. Let's say my first name is Hulk Hogan. It was about privacy, US. No. Let's say my name is Hulk. Next. Sometimes I get lucky. My birthday is, I don't know, May. It's gonna be May 14th, 2000. Making everyone feel old because you're 24 in 2000. Gender, non-binary. Female, I guess. No, we'll just do male. He's signing up as Hulk, guys. Hulk Hogan. No, you'd have to link, Jay, you'd have to link, I guess, Hulk7610gmail.com. Password. Might get lucky. So to scan with the QR with your phone, open your camera and scan it. Google needs to verify some information about your device, your phone number, before you can continue. This helps you and others stay safe online, preventing from abuse from computer programs or bots. Definitely expected it. So oh shit, someone else is going to be scanning that. I mean, that'd be very dumb of them. They would just have a random. I'm never gonna use this, so I don't care. That'd be funny though. It goes away after a second. It allows you to do like a phone number. So this is kind of what you would use if you wanted to do a phone number verification without having to have a burner phone, install any eSIM. But I have seen this get rejected. It's not perfect, but it's inexpensive, by the way. So you can use the word Google, YouTube, Gmail. So it's kind of like leave service as any other if you're unsure. I'm hungry, BRB. Now, I will say that if another beer, hell yeah. Now, I will say that if need be, if the cost is here, if the cost is there, I mean, well, if the demand is there, I'd be willing to create verified Google accounts that have no correlation to you, long-term use, for like a very small amount in Monero, really just for number verification cost. Possibly where I can get people like Google accounts, hand over the keys to the Google account, make sure that it has like enough long-term use that it doesn't have any real risk of being banned. If that would be like something that people would want. Not really that would be a good idea because, I mean, Google sucks in general, but if people are running Graphene OS and they want a private way to use Graphene OS, that would be we can be partners in that. Of course, Decon wants to be partners in that because his name is the Icon 2020. Or maybe like some other like major service that people purchase, where they want to have like a degree of separation. I'm not entirely sure if there's even a need for that or a hole in hindsight, but it'd be interesting. So for something like this, you would just scan the amount. You would hit next. They don't really work really well on Tor, and I don't know if their Tor is working. But you just scan it. Oh shit, you can do that for something? Else than crypto, I could use help. Would you? The only problem is linkability. I like supporting the Monero economy, and linkability is where I kind of want to get it. Waiting for verification. So it's going to eventually kick me off this, and it should kick me over to a phone number. No. I remember there was, it generally kicks you off and just asks for a phone number. Or maybe it doesn't. Because when I was doing this on Tails, it eventually timed out on this and asked me to just give a phone number. Do you have an overall estimate of XMR amount that kind of service? It would just be really like maybe like $2 to $3 above whatever the phone number cost. I just like finding ways to obtain Monero as much as possible. So like if the phone number I can get costs like $5, I would just and I can confirm that the account is created and it is functional. 5XMR. That'd be insane. I would just do to like $2 to $3 above whatever. $2 to $3 above that. Maybe like $5 or. Yes, guys. $1,500 for the service. Seems like it does need to verify some information before like this. So let me see something real quick. I wonder, I'm going to see if this can be done on a fresh Graphene OS install. No Google Play service. No nothing. Because this QR code shit's pretty gay. Yeah, what if you didn't have a phone? Let me just hit that. I really need to get XMR as soon as possible. We're in the business. Yeah. Yeah, it's, I mean, there's ways you can get it, like, privately. It's not impossible. Wow, that's insane. Yeah, what if you don't have a cell phone? I mean, I guess their assumption is that you have a cell phone Everyone has a cell phone, maybe. It seems like they do some form of like device ID check. I, I will. I mean, if doing it through the device requires little to no verification on the phone number part, often. Oh, of course, I have a cell phone. Oh, I'm not that deep. No, not you, not you. Just in general. But what if? I'm wondering if you don't do it through Tor and you just do it on regular normal, it probably sees that you're doing it via I2P. Well, the good thing about this is it will, if it once it times out in 15 minutes, it sends the Lightning back to its original responder. I guess let's see, a VPN would probably trip. You probably need to do this over Wi-Fi, like public, like Wi-Fi. Oh, here we go. Yeah. So that's what you want. Oh my God, no. Last time it literally allowed me to bypass this, and it gave me a way to just put a phone number in. Oh, let me do this. Password confirm. Yeah, I wish there was a way you could emulate Android. This is really gay. There is, I think. Yeah, I'm wondering if there's a way you could emulate Android to do this this part, because it's kind of crazy. Like, what if you just don't have a cell phone? I forgot the name though. I want to try this under, I guess, non-Tor. Let me go in a virtual machine now. Okay, so if anyone receives an email from this email, Hulk76011, it is not me. Back with the food. Nice. Based, actually. So we're just gonna open up a virtual machine. I believe it is still running. SimpleX Signal. Yeah, but the thing is, SimpleX Signal is better than SMS. I think you should buy Bitcoin and exchange it to XMR. I think it's called Motion something. Oh, interesting. Bitcoin and exchange it to. No, I would never do that. I would never own one XMR. That would be illegal. So we're just going to go to google.com. Oh, we're going to go to Gmail. Nope. create an account. Oh god, this is terrible looking. For my personal use. Instead of Hulk Hogan, let's do Randy Orton. My birthday is January 22nd, 1984, because of how dystopian it is. Female? They would never. Randy is ready for beer. Interesting. Can't transfer more than 900 without the feds knowing these days. True. To buy Bitcoin, I have to scan my ID enforced by law. Card forced by law. Probably. Believe it. Google needs to verify some information about your device or phone number before we continue. This helps keep us tracking who you are. Huh. Yeah, I mean, no, it could still ask for a phone number. Let's do this. Because last time, it would, how much motion do you have? I don't have 900 bucks, man. Ain't my problem. How much motion do you have? What's motion? Like lotion? How much lotion do I have? Wow. Getting a fake Gmail is pretty annoying. Let's get out of that. You're probably better off getting a fucking Yahoo account. Let's see. Let's get out of here. They'll refund it. Get an AOL mail. Old school is best. No, it's probably just as bad. But the thing is, Google is used a lot for people that like want to get Graphene OS working, and they are going to use Play services. So they want to obtain a Gmail as private as possible. Because when I was testing this on Tails, that did pop up, and I just waited, and after a period of time, it like circled around and then just said try a phone number, and then I did SMS for sats, and it immediately rejected it and said too many failed attempts for fraud and abuse or whatever, and pretty much didn't work. And I was like, let me figure this out as I go. Interesting. The better option is probably to just get, when you get a fresh, like, Pixel, I just like the separation aspect of it. I mean, getting the ability to use Graphene OS almost untouched by any form of like number is kind of like the goal. Gorilla Mail. Gorilla Mail is just a temporary email service. It's like a non-addy, but super temporary. I even used Gorilla Mail to test it. Like, if you can sign up Facebook, like a long time ago, could you sign up with Facebook with Gorilla Mail, and it worked. Now it's kind of like blacklisted. I prefer going to Shark Lasers, which is another Gorilla Mail service. Yeah, Shark Lasers is awesome. It's just a fun word to say. I wonder if on XMR Bazaar. You can look at that later. Well, let's look up Signal. I do have a spare pixel around I could see if, but that's just not realistic for people. Some people don't have two phones. A lot of people don't have two phones. What am I saying? Go to session. We're going to get some Wikipedia articles, I guess. Signal. It's funny, actually. So, maybe help. Wow. 2013. The only version of Apple has is their Apple Vision. The only vision Apple has is their Apple Vision. Yeah, that's true. About 1 hour mark, and I'm done with my food. See ya later. Appreciate you stopping by, Billy. I like being the Thanks for liking the stream, Billy. Appreciate it. I also like being the content you watch when you eat. There we go. All right, so the Signal protocol is formerly known as the Text Secure Protocol, is a non-federated cryptographic protocol that provides end-to-end encryption for voice and instant messaging conversations. The protocol was developed by Open Whisper Systems in 2013 and was introduced in the open source Text Secure app, which later became Signal. Several closed source applications have implemented the protocol, such as WhatsApp, which is said to encrypt the conversation of more than 1 billion people worldwide, or Google, who provides end-to-end encryption by default with RCS-based conversations between their Google Messages app for one-to-one conversations. Facebook Messenger says they offer the protocol option for secret conversations, as did Skype, unfortunately, that left. Watching the live stream while taking a bath. Facebook Messenger for Skype, but the thing is, like, from what I understand, is a lot of these closed source applications, they kind of encrypt the message with the Signal protocol, but they don't. It's kind of like a cake in terms of layers. They encrypt the top layer and the bottom layer, but the middle layer they definitely are aware of a lot of stuff that could leak metadata. And then metadata, remember, at the end of the day, metadata is the most powerful tool, which advertisers take advantage of, law enforcement takes advantage of, and most importantly, threat actors. It's never the message itself that incriminates you, it's the metadata that's around it. Gooning? Yeah, man. So just keep that in mind when people use Skype. It's cool that they're using end-to-end encryption, but they're like doing it in like the worst possible way, and their privacy is pretty abysmal at best. So the protocol combines something called the double ratchet algorithm, pre-keys, i.e. one-time ephemeral public key that has been uploaded in advance to a centralized server, and a triple elliptic curve Diffie-Hellman 3DH handshake. And uses the Curve 25519, AES-256, and HMAC SHA-256 as its primitives. This double ratchet encryption algorithm is actually what saved Signal when there was I believe, a vulnerability with one of the algorithms that they were using, and it fell back on the other form of encryption, thus protecting like the scheme of it. This is why a lot of cryptographers that create secure communications, they call it the belt and suspenders approach. If your belt falls, then your suspenders save you. If your suspenders fall, then your belt saves you. It's kind of like a cool perspective. The development of the Signal protocol was started by Trevor Pierman and Moxie Merlin Spike, Open Whisper Systems. In 2013, the first version of the protocol, Text Secure version 1, was based on off-the-record messaging. Interesting. Is this an app? It's a cryptographic protocol that provides encryption for instant messaging conversations. OTR uses the combination of AES symmetric key algorithm with 128 bits key length and the Diffie-Hellman key exchange, which with the 1536 bits group size based. Okay. Interesting. The design of the axolotl ratchet is based on the ephemeral key exchange that was introduced by OTR in combination with the symmetric key ratchet model after the Silent Circle Instant Messaging Protocol, SCIMP, ICP, baby. It is brought about the support of asynchronous communication offline messages as its major feature, as well as better resilient with distorted order of messages and simpler support for conversations with multiple participants. The actual ratchet was named after the critically endangered aquatic salamander axolotl, which has extraordinary self-healing capabilities. The developer referred to the algorithm as a self-healing because it automatically disables an attacker from accessing clear text messages of later messages after having compromised a session key. The third version of the protocol, Text Secure version 3, made some changes to the cryptographic primitives and the wire protocol. In October of 2014, researchers from Ruhr University Bochum published an analysis of Text Secure version 3 along with other findings. They presented a unknown key share attack on the protocol, but in general they found it was secure. 2016, the developers renamed the protocol to the Signal Protocol, also renamed the ratchet to the double ratchet algorithm to better differentiate between the ratchet and the full protocol, because some had used the name axolotl when referring to the full protocol. 2016, the Signal Protocol based in Text Secure with the addition of cryptographic changes and some other things. Properties. The protocol provides confidentiality, integrity, and authentication, participant consistency, destination validation, and forward secrecy. Post-compromise security, aka future secrecy, causality prevention, and message unlinkability. Message reputation and participation reputation are asynchronicity. It does not provide anonymity preservation and requires servers for the relaying messages and storing of public key material. Signal Protocol also supports end-to-end encrypted group chats and multicast encryption and a pairwise of the double ratchet. Authentication metadata. The Signal Protocol does not prevent a company from retaining information about when and with whom users communicate. There can be therefore a difference in how messaging service providers choose to handle this information. Signal's privacy policy states that the recipient's identities are only kept on the Signal servers as long as necessary in order to transmit each message. In 2016, told the Interceptor the closest piece of information to metadata that the Signal server stores is the last time each user connected to the server, and the precision of this information is reduced to the day rather than the hour, the minute, or the second. So this could be theoretically a good way to mitigate against time-based attacks, especially if user A, like Alice and Bob, if we want to use the Alice and Bob perspective. The Alice and Bob perspective is that if Alice sends a message at like 3 p.m. and Bob responds at 3:05, and those are timestamped to the connection that they made, this could, in theory, make it much easier to break down the metadata and the like other forms of information that point to this. It can make it where, so like law enforcement, or if an adversary attacker, et cetera, wants to be like, okay, they always talk at 3 and 3:07 p.m. If this is especially consistent, it could create a pattern, and that pattern could be pretty dangerous because it can give off a lot of information from your time zone, et cetera, kind of thing. So making it look like every user connects this day on a day, it makes it much more difficult to boil that down, because like, oh, they just connected that day. That's still a lot of information in hindsight, but a lot less specific. You could mitigate this obviously by making sure you are enforcing and running a VPN, or you are enforcing and running all your traffic through Tor while you're communicating with people. Especially, this makes it much more in a secure matter. And I believe that Signal supports proxies too in the app. Boom. So we have the demon of proprietary software, Apple. We have something called iMessage. So that's pretty much essentially what Signal does. I know people will give it a lot of hate because it still has a number requirement. But the cool thing is, even with the number requirement, you can give people usernames, thus reducing your, your digital uniqueness. And even furthermore, you could even prevent people from searching for your number. And obviously, if this is a number that you paid with like cash and that is obtained as privately as possible, you don't necessarily have to worry about the number leaking because you don't use this anywhere else. You don't put this on Facebook. You don't put this on XYZ. You use it to register to Signal, and then you use usernames to communicate with your friends and the illegal haha funny meme Discord. Ish like server, but with end-to-end encryption. When the boys' Signal chat gets leaked. So, Wikipedia is going to talk to us about iMessage. iMessage is an instant messaging service developed by Apple and launched on October 12th of 2011. Interesting, before Signal. iMessage functionally exclusively only on the Apple platform, gay, including iOS, iPadOS, macOS, watchOS, etc. As a part of the Apple's approach to inter-device integration, which has been described by media outlets as a means of achieving vendor lock-in, which is true, iMessage uses the Messages app client. Core features of iMessage are available on all supported platforms, including sending text messages, images, videos, and documents, getting delivery and read status, that's retarded, and end-to-end encryption. The only thing that we really care about. So only the sender and the recipient can read the messages, and no one else. Even Apple themselves cannot read them. The service also allows sending location data and stickers. Woo! Which is kind of interesting because they say that it's end-to-end encrypted, but it's only end-to-end encrypted if you have another iPhone. It's not encrypted if you send SMS, which is kind of lame, especially with the amount of users out there that are not iPhone users. I think there's more Android users because Android's so cheap than there are iPhone users. So it's very lame of Apple to keep this secret from us. So they pretty much in 2012, Apple CEO Tim Apple announced that Apple device users have spent 300 billion messages using iMessage, and that Apple delivers on average 28,000 messages per second. Eddie Q announced that the number of iMessages sent per second has grown to 200,000. These are kind of weird statistics to really care about. They're kind of lame. It could just be two people just sending back and forth gooning videos. Digital markets, features, topology. The iMessage protocol is based on the Apple Push Notification Service. That's kind of interesting. And a proprietary binary protocol. Boo. It sets up to keep a live connection with the Apple servers. Every connection has its own unique code, which acts as an identifier for the route that it should be used to send a message to a specific device. The connection is encrypted with TLS using client-side certificates, and that is requested by the device on the active iMessage. Each message recipient's public keys are retrieved from Apple's identity service, the IDS, Apple's directory of iMessage public keys, Apple Push Notification Service, APN's address, and phone number and email address are used to look up the keys and device addresses. Each message is individually encrypted for each recipient in the device conversation. Message attachments are encrypted and uploaded to iCloud to be retrieved separately by the recipient. Messages are stored on Apple servers for up to 30 days. People are like, oh no, I have to install another app. You have 30 apps you don't use on your phone, ma'am, so fuck you. I just don't get the signal hate, I guess. I don't know if that's true. Because I don't know how they do their notification service. If they do some form of encrypted notification service, then I wouldn't know. Apple's a black box. People like to make a lot of assumptions and guess about it, but unless you know. Oh, Apple's notification servers defeat the security of both Signal and SimpleX if notifications are on. Check it out. SimpleX even addressed it on their iOS. No, sorry, I read that wrong. I think it is. I think you are right. Because notifications are inherently not private, and I don't think you can encrypt the notifications themselves. They advise not to have notice on. Yeah, I think it's because most notification services aren't encrypted. That's the purpose of it, because notifications, I don't think they can be, and they do have some pieces of metadata in them. This is why it's weird that Signal hasn't pushed for running their own notification server or pushed people to use Unified Push natively. Same thing with Proton. I think rewriting your own notification server isn't that much of a thing to ask for in 2025. Relying on Firebase and like proprietary notification services are pretty bad. Well, it depends on how they process it, but with Apple, it's definitely not secure. Actually, Android's Google's backend Firebase notification service, because I think it's free and that's why they use it, has been shown to be expose a lot of metadata, and I believe that the FBI caught someone because of a notification. I don't think I'm having a fever dream, and that is true. Yeah, 100%. This is only from... So a foreign law enforcement officer got Telguard, an encrypted Swiss messaging app, to hand over small strings of code the company had used to send push alerts. The pop-up notifications announced instant messaging and news and updates to suspect's phone. An FBI agent then got Google to quickly hand over a list of email addresses this month linked to that code, known as a push token, and traced an account on the man in Toledo. An affidavit shows the man, Michael Aspinwall, was charged with sexual exploitation of minors and distribution of child sexual abuse material, and arrested within the week of Google's request. Yep. Notifications are inherently not private because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm correct and I'm not mistaken, you can't encrypt these notifications due to the way that the notification headers or something like that are inherently they're not possible to encrypt. This is why Tutanota does not use Google notifications. They built their own because they're essentially not private. The data has become prized evidence that federal investigations who have used push tokens in at least 4 cases across the country to arrest suspect in the cases of related to child sexual abuse material and the kidnapping that led to a murder. According to the Washington Post review of the court record, the law enforcement officials have defined the technique by saying a user court authorized legal process to give the officers a virtual tool they needed to hunt down criminals. Whether people agree that this was a good thing or a bad thing, it doesn't really matter. It just shows you that you cannot trust even the notifications on your Android. The Post found more than 1,300 search warrants and court orders. Joshua Stephen, a spokesman of the Justice Department, said after determining that non-content push notification metadata may help arrest offenders or stop ongoing criminal acts, federal law enforcement investigated fully comply with the U.S. Constitution and applicable status. Yes, even your push notifications can snitch on you. I believe this is why I don't know how Simple X. I think they allow unified push. So your better option is, if you can, is to run unified push because it's private, and especially if you run it in a private manner or use services that fundamentally will either run their own push notifications to make it more private or secure. That would be the most optimal way to do it. But they will use Facebook Messenger over Signal. I tried that scenario. Yeah, it is. It is a problem. For people, people care about. Again, people need to have something very significant in their life to happen for them to switch to more private alternatives. Generally, something bad enough. Apple's notification service. Okay. SimpleX gives you 3 options on iOS. Signal doesn't. I believe it's probably because the way you have to develop Apple has strict requirements on how applications are developed. So there might be a software restriction on Signal. Like, I wouldn't maybe blame Signal, or maybe it's the way that Signal does its push notifications. That could be another reason. It's not, and I'm not entirely clear on it. I would have to look more into it. I don't own an iPhone, so a lot of stuff that happens in the Apple ecospace I'm somewhat unaware of. And I believe that SimpleX gives you 3 options because they are somewhat decentralized. Maybe they are not as reliant on the notifications, or maybe they just found a different way to do it via Apple. Not entirely sure. There might be a way that they got around where they don't. It could be because of where their application is maybe based. They might have a different way of approach where they're allowed to do that, because they aren't based in the U.S. where Signal is based in the U.S. It might have not the how you can I think Apple disabled something in the UK because they're required to. They're required to. So I'm not entirely sure. It could be a number of reasons why SimpleX can do it and Signal doesn't. But I think the thing is, a lot of people don't want to use Signal because they see it as just another application, and that's part of the problem. But the other part is Signal's been out for over 10 years, and it still hasn't gained. It's gained a lot of popularity. I'm meeting more people that are using Signal in the wild than when I started. But it definitely is one of those things that people are just going to be stuck in the idea that they want one app convenience, but they'll have 30 fucking versions of Candy Crush on their fucking phone. That's what I don't get. Like, I use Molly versus Signal's main thing because I think it has some benefits over it, but it doesn't mean that it's better. Okay, but yeah, that's a you can go down the rabbit hole of notifications and how they're kind of annoying. So iMessage is only officially available on Apple operating system. It does not support Android or Microsoft Windows and does not have any web access interface. Security and privacy. The electronic fear fund it listed is iMessage on its secure messaging scorecard, giving it a score of 5 out of 7. It received points for having communications encrypted in transit, having communications encrypted with keys, and does not have access, provided it doesn't have access to having past communications, shifted keys, perfect word secrecy, security audit, fingerprinting. Matthew Green noted that because iMessage does not display key fingerprints for out-of-band verification, users are unable to verify if man-in-the-middle tax has not occurred. This post is also noted that iMessage uses RSA key exchange. This means that as opposed to what the EFF's scorecard claims, iMessage does not have feature forward secrecy. Researchers from Project Zero presented 6 inner actionless exploits in iMessage that could be used to take over a controller's device. These 6 exploits have been fixed in 12.4. The FBI document obtained by Property of the People's Inc., nonprofit organization, through a FOIA request, reveals that WhatsApp and iMessage are vulnerable to law enforcement real-time searches. Reuters also reported that Apple plans to encrypt cloud backups, iMessage data, which they didn't for a long time. Hug between Beeper Mini and the Apple tweeting green bubble texts are less secure, so why would Apple block a new app allowing Android users to chat with iPhone? I kind of disagree because I think people you says it's really not that I think Messenger apps had a chance to lock in users, had one chance to lock in users, and that was many years ago. It's just one of those things that's hard to switch out, even if you wanted to. I don't think it's hard to switch out. I think people, again, need something to happen to them for them to care about a more secure, open platform. Like, I had a pretty extreme experience that led me to wanting to go to free and open source software. The common theme to this day is still, I have nothing to hide. This is not something that, I mean, this is, while I admit anecdotally, I hear it quite often, and you hear it quite often from a lot of people in the privacy and security phase, like in communities where they run into a lot of family members that, well, I have nothing to hide, or why do you, though people like coworkers and people in general life, when I talk about self-hosting, they're like, why do you do all that? That seems unnecessary. That seems unrealistic. I mean, me having an MP3 player is like, where is it? I need a soundboard. I have told if we talked about crypto, then I'd rather use you. If we talk about crypto, then I'd rather use Signal. Yeah. I think if you, I mean, you do talk about anything private, how I get a lot of people to switch to Signal, surprisingly, is very silly features that people care about. I'm like, oh, it has group chats and stickers. Where is it? When people are like, when I tell people I have an MP3 player, yeah, that's what I get. Huh? Uh-huh. Well, something extreme happening as a trigger is pretty hard to expect from a lot of people. Most people never experience trauma. No, I'm not talking about, I'm using the word hyperbolically. I had a really bad experience with Windows to the point, I mean, just being part of a data breach. or a hack. That could be very traumatic to someone. Getting your bank account hacked could shake some people into getting a password manager and being educated. I think it comes down to education. Well, first I believe you need something to happen to you. I don't think it has to be like life altering to the point of like you don't trust technology. I think it has to be altering enough to be like, what else can I use? A lot of people I've met that leave the Apple ecosystem is because they're tired of getting Apple taxed, which could be financially a life altering lifestyle. That could be life changing to someone. They're like, I'm tired of Apple paying for Apple for this, or using their cloud, or XYZ, 99 cents a month, or $4 a month, or whatever they charge. And then realistically, you don't have a lot of options out there when it comes to that. And the spread of really bad secure cell phones is not helping, because I think people are becoming more. Actually, I think we're going through a privacy awakening where people are now like, okay, this shit's becoming real, and they are figuring out that it's not as easy to switch. I get that part. Like, it's not like you just wake up and just go to Signal tomorrow, but people are acting like it's you're moving mountains when you're really not. I mean, Signal is relatively easy to transition to. I've gotten people to transition to it. They love it. They figure it out in like 5 minutes. And they can FaceTime still. You can use the word FaceTime if need be. All people really care about, I think the vast majority of people care about, FaceTime, does it work? Does it work? FaceTime. For whatever reason. I don't know why people like FaceTime so much. It's kind of weird. And do I get my messages on time? Can I see read messages? Like, the crazy partner? Not just the crazy girlfriend or the crazy boyfriend. The crazy partner. They're like, I need to know you read my message. Okay. Sure. Shit like that. That's how I don't convince people on the privacy or security side, like, ever. 99.9% of the time, I have people switch products to better privacy preserving products, better secure products, mainly based on the most normie shit you can think of. Like, oh, you don't like ads? Here's Brave. You don't get ads. You want to watch YouTube without ads, and you want to watch it in the background, so you don't have to pay $14 a month for fucking YouTube Prime subscription. It's not about the functionalities, ease of use, though. The hard part is making your work, school, group chat, or your friends, your whole family to switch simultaneously. No, it is definitely about the functionalities and ease of use, though. 100% it is. If people don't see the same functionalities in their current why would I switch? If something traumatic enough happens, that would force you to look. But if you came to Signal like 5 to 10 years ago, and there's no group chat, there's no FaceTime, there's no stickers, why the fuck would I switch? I'm getting less. I'm getting less for what? Like, I promise, it's people don't switch based on the privacy or security aspect most of the time. The majority of the time, they switch because it's ease of use. Messages deliver. Like, if you walked up to like an average person and you're like, "Hey, would you switch to this super secure end-to-end encrypted messaging app that works 80% of the time?" You'd be like, "Fuck no." And there's no stickers, and there's no FaceTime, and there's no memes, no GIFs. They'd be like, no. But if you go up to someone and you're like, hey, how would you like to have a private conversation with your friends where you have disappearing messages, you have read and looked at receipts, You have all the functionality of Apple, but you're not locked into an ecosystem, and it's encrypted. That'd be cool, right? For sure. But I'm saying Signal doesn't have that issue anymore. It has everything people want. The hardest part is the switch. It doesn't make sense if all your contacts won't. I think people will switch. Is if you just sell them on everything but the privacy and security part. Like how I do it is I just tell people I won't talk to you unless you use Signal. So, sorry. And that gets people to switch. Because they get tired of, oh man, I don't want to call him. And then, boom. I mean, I've gotten dates to switch that I've met one time. Because I'm like, I try to just put myself in the other person's shoe. And I mean, I'm not saying it as a flex or anything. I just think you got to know how to talk to people. You got to listen to what is their, like, why would I download this random messaging app for a dude I just met 2 minutes ago? Because if you do this, you don't have to give me your real number. And if I end up being crazy, you don't have to worry about blocking me or having your number. I've gotten people to switch to Brave based on the fact that, hey, you don't like ads? Boom. You want to watch YouTube in the background? Boom. I just look for the soft, I call them like soft spots, where people they have a problem, they just don't know where to look. That's another part, is Signal is definitely widely adopted. Proton is definitely widely adopted. Not got bitches? No. But I have I've gotten like people I've dated, people friends that have never even thought about it. I'm like, hey, you don't, like, my friends, I'm like, you don't want our messages to get leaked, right? Where our memes are too funny. How are you going to get canceled if our memes are too fun? Like, you can't cancel us with their memes if they can't be leaked. And they're like, oh, okay. It's that simple. And then, like, I just tell, like, them, like, hey, you can give out me your username instead of your phone number, and then we don't have to worry about being crazy. I mean, you just got to find for the soft problems they have. They know they exist. They complain about them. They just don't know where to find it. That's kind of like an ad blocker and why I like Brave. And just, you come into MoneroCon. I would love to. Oh, wait. Not Monero. Oh, dude, I would love to go to MoneroCon. Is it going to happen, actually? I don't think I can, though. My real life employment is never. I wish I would have gone to this last year because I was in the area, but like a month prior. I thought this got canceled. Oh, it's in Poland? Yeah, not gonna happen. That's super cool, though. Oh. Why the fuck? Oh, dude, it's always like a month or an after. A month before or after. Before I can go. It's like a month or after a month after, like, I'm in that general area. Damn. That would be so cool. Orange Friend? Based! Poland, of all places, though. It's cold. I think America needs a MoneroCon, though. I really do. I think we need to... I mean, I love that it's going around the world, but the U.S. needs a Monero conference. Because Monerotopia is in fucking Mexico. MoneroCon is in... MoneroCon's always in, like, some random country. We need to do it. We need to have Monero in the U.S. It was in Czech Republic last year. Shit was super cool. Yeah, I know. I've been to Czech... I was in Czech Republic, like, a month prior. And forgot. Like, didn't even realize it. I was like, oh, Czech, this is cool. Hell yeah. I just want to go to listen to the talks. Completely honest. I know you can do it online, and you don't gotta buy a ticket, but I think it would be super cool to get in there. You've never been to on a date? Be real. True. If I told, yeah, you're right. You caught me. I just it's kind of sad that we don't have this in America. I would love an American version of this, but conventions are super expensive to set up. They're very very risky when it comes to actually like making your money back, and they have a lot of litigations with it. I've listened to people that have done cons like conferences, and God, the logistics of it is insane. Some of it's like some people can do it like once a year, and that's it. The fun part of Minicon is sketchy ass people. I mean, sketchy people in a different sense. I'm actually okay with the Monero aspect of it. But I thought this got canceled, and they were like pretty. I think it was because of the money. If I'm not wrong, if I'm correct, right? Like they just didn't know, or was it a logistics thing? Written in view. I left my wife to party on MoneroCon. That'd be sick. Guys, I don't have a wife anymore. Imagine meeting a woman here. That'd be cool, right? Women exist. There's a lot of women in Monero. Of course. I'm pretty sure it was due to a private issue with the organizers. Oh, okay. I figured women are into Monero. But they're all probably traps. Or femboys, whatever they want to call them today. Wow, this is actually really funny. I'm at my sister's house for Christmas, and the Wi-Fi here is a disaster. She had 15 people trying to stream on a single consumer-grade router. Everything was buffering. People were getting frustrated. They started looking at me like I should jump in and fix the settings. I didn't even put my fork down. I told them the issue isn't the router, it's the ISP throttling. I told them that on national holidays, providers cap the bandwidth and the neighborhood node to prevent total grid collapse. I told them there's literally nothing anyone can do until the surge period ends at midnight. Is this true? No. I could have easily logged into the router, prioritized my own MAC address, and let everyone deal with the lag. But if I fix it once, the family help desk for life. By blaming a faceless corporation, I killed the expectation of support. Everyone stopped complaining and started a board game. I went into the den, used my phone as a private hotspot, and finished my movie in 4K. Infrastructure is about control. Management is about making sure you're the only one who has it. That's the great thing, is you can lie. One dude came to every talk wearing a baklava and one of those reflector glasses. Sounds like a Fed. No, I mean traps isn't like femboys. But those are traps too. Fed's just cosplaying. That's the best thing, is actually like if you work in like any tech field, You could just make shit up to people the entire time. Would you recommend for swapping to XMR without having being scared of I am hold? Oh, am I a hold? Um, Lightning, actually anything, and just then take it and you would swap it with whatever cryptocurrency you want, and then you would take it. You would do this with a wallet that's whatever, like a one-time. You use first off, you would use a one-time sub address on a wallet that you do not touch besides for this, and you keep creating sub addresses, and then you swap it to. Obviously, do this with big purchases. Don't do it with fucking like $5. And then you swap it to your main wallet that's connected to your node. Problem solved. Monero's built-in privacy is so good that it's not super. I mean, like there's time-based attacks like, hey, if we sent you $756.39 of Monero to maybe like a public spy node, like a node that's been compromised, or like a list of nodes that are compromised, that are like ran by the feds, they could and then you send it to a KYC exchange, and you happen to extract that almost exact amount. You could theoretically figure out like, oh, this fucker is the person that did it. We sent it to this retard. So that's why you never make the same. You never take the same amount of Monero and swap it, and then take it out to an exchange. You split it between other wallets that you have, and send it to your main wallet that is connected to your node. And then if you wanted to cash out, you could do so, or you could use Havno or RetroSwap and send the funds to somebody, obviously in a trusted environment, and they send you cash. That's like kind of the best option. Monero's, again, privacy is built into it at the core level. There are some obviously privacy implementations, but once FMCP plus gets released, oh my God, it's going to be even harder. Now I'm talking about non-KYC exchange for swapping other crypto to XMR. A lot of them, when you swap high amounts to XMR, they free. Oh, what exchange? I use Swapwise. I use Wizard Swap. It's pretty good, and I've never do large amounts because I want to do smaller amounts for like lots of reasons. Because I mainly spend Monero. I'm not a Monero bag holder where I want it to pump up. But from a usability standpoint, I just use Wizard Swap, and then I use FixFloat a lot with obviously a VPN, of course, or like through Tor. Those are kind of like my go-to because they don't require large amounts and no KYC. Wizard Swap I've heard some shady shit in the past. Like people have had some issues, but so far I've had no problem with them. And I mainly swap Monero with Bitcoin Lightning. Wow, man, I really wish I could go this. This would be sick. In Poland, of all places, though. Maybe they'll come to the U.S. one day. Or just a not cold country. Now, if you want to go even super, super mega cool, like with your messaging app, Session is like another good option for you have for end-to-end encryption. They are working on perfect forward secrecy. I think they finally stopped being a bunch of bitches. That was one of the biggest criticisms of it, and let's see. Um, I mean, you're taking a risk with anything. It really. So they're doing the swapping. Not really. Your biggest risk is mainly using a wallet that has poor metadata, like where you're like swapping a specific amount and then sending it to a KYC exchange immediately. So what you could do is you would set up Feather Wallet. It routes everything through Tor. You would do this on Tails. You would go in to Wizard Swap, and then you would swap it with Bitcoin Lightning, or preferably on your own node, your own Lightning node, or Litecoin, Mimblewimble, whatever, and then you swap it to that Feather Wallet. That Feather Wallet then takes that crypto, that X amount, and you send it to your main wallet connected to also your own node. Then you almost have zero worries. Is everything 100%? No, of course not. But you have a million times less worries because everything is routed through Tor anyways. And Feather Wallet has a good reputation of being relatively one of the most private wallets you can get. And then you can send it to, like I said, your own wallet that is connected to your own node, thus making sure each transaction remains confined and validated through yours, and there's no, even if there was a malicious node on the other side, they would just know, oh, we sent $80 to this Monero wallet that's routed through Tor anyways, and then you send that Monero amount of Monero to another wallet. The pennies that you pay for all the wallet swap, especially if you're using one-time single sub-addresses, is even better. I mean, it even tells you how many times it's been used. There's always going to be some level of attack that could be carried out and be proven to de-anonymize you. You have to keep that in mind. But if there's little to no metadata or information that is used to de-anonymize you, you have less to worry, if that makes sense. That's why you want to blend in with the crowd. What if you just send it to a sub-address if you already main Feather? The better thing, well, Feather creates multiple addresses, so that would be cool, but to be safe, especially with these no KYC exchanges, it would be smarter to route it out to a different, more private main wallet and not rely on a single point of failure. It doesn't hurt to route it to another wallet like that you're running, especially connected to your own node. Like, I run my own Monero node. I pretty much always use it. Almost all the time. I very rarely trust public nodes. But even if I do, I put a VPN behind it so that my IP address can't be correlated, and that, again, becomes kind of complicated. Or I do only Tor nodes. Like, I only connect through Tor. I barely ever, I can't think of, besides my own node, I really can't think of a time that I connect to, I can't think of times that I ever connect to public nodes. I have no use because I run my own node now. But if I did, VPN or Tor, baby, always. You are entrusting them that they will not take that. So, since its inception, Session has proven a unique offering in the privacy landscape. Onion routing, decentralization, no phone number requirements. However, Session's contributors still listen closely to the power users and broader security community to discover ways for Session can improve the feedback. Session needs perfect forward secrecy to better protect historic messages if a device is compromised. Session should implement post-quantum cryptography to protect messages against the attacker who store messages now and breaks later. Later breaks traditional cryptographic schemes using quantum computers. Session should implement the visibility of linked devices so users can ensure all devices linked to their account are properly authorized to read and send messages. Session's contributions have taken feedback on the border and have been working on the design of the upgrade Session protocol. The upgraded address points to raised by the community while maintaining the user experience Sessions have come to exploit. Easy multiple device linking, a simple process to recover an account, and assurance the measures are delivered reliably and remained by all authorized users. And they're supposed to do perfect forward secrecy in version 2. Session initially launched with perfect forward secrecy inherited from the Signal protocol, but the Signal protocol was later depreciated in Session due to the significant issue it created for users with multiple linked devices. During the time it was enabled, Session users frequently raised issues with sent message not properly syncing between linked devices, message received from the other users generally failing to decrypt, auto accounts recovered with the user's recovery password not properly covering. V2 solution, feature proofing of post-quantum, and linked devices. I hate that Session and SimpleX both got involved with crypto projects. I agree. Most almost feels like we can't have any good privacy projects without trying to get some money through some crypto integration. I agree. Same thing with Brave. I agree. This is a problem. The tokenomics ideology is a problem. Now, MoneroCon needs to be an electronic music festival combined. That would be sick, actually. I would fucking pay any amount of money to go do that. That'd be awesome. Make it a metal fest. I agree that the tokenomics and cryptocurrency involvement. Now, I believe that though I will say that SimpleX is not doing it the same way as Session. Session created their own tokenomics, while SimpleX created a way for them to make zero-knowledge proof payments to pay relay operators, and it's actually not cryptocurrency related. They use the Ethereum virtual zero-knowledge proof network to create payment structures that don't link your identity. Now, from what I understand, this is not a cryptocurrency thing. It is a security measure because of the Ethereum does a way to do this with zero trust knowledge architecture, and that allows them to make payments to relay operators so that they can coexist, which I'm okay with, because if you need a way to make sure that your infrastructure doesn't fall for people, look, we get it. Everybody should be doing this for the greater good. You should run a Tor node. You should run an I2P relay. You should run a SimpleX relay. You should run a Signal relay. That's not how the world works. Costs money. I don't think SimpleX is doing it to do a money scheme. I think Session was doing it to do a tokenomics ideology that was retarded, and it was the requirements to run a node for Session is insane. Just saying. So I think theirs is all fucked up. That's why I don't like Session. But if they implicate perfect forward secrecy and they find other ways to financially fund their industry, I'm okay with it then. I will backtrack what I said about them and be like, okay, I get it. You guys made a big uh-oh and you corrected it. This is the same thing with Brave. Brave made a big uh-oh and I think they corrected it, and going forward I embrace criticism. So this has been a landmark for this month for Session, with the announcement of design for Session v2 protocol support from Vitalik Burton and contribution towards the release of Session Pro Beta. Session Pro Beta rollout. As mentioned in the previous deployment update, Pro Beta features have been completely and are progressively through quality assurance process, roles and support, launch, other work, the plan. The past month, Huh. Well, I feel at this point they can do that. Session fucked up too early. I think Session can fix a lot of the issues they have. High character limits, larger group size. But I definitely think that the biggest problem is, what are you guys going to do? Drop your tokenomics? It's kind of like Odyssey. Odyssey had a really good opportunity to just integrate something already exists, which is Monero. SimpleX said they didn't want to integrate Monero because they don't want to be subject to any form of cryptocurrency. That's fine. That's the right, and that's good that they're making that decision. As long as they don't get involved in the cryptocurrency tokenomics ideology, then they're not being hypocritical. And if they're just using it for the zero knowledge proofs and a way to make a payment system that is private, so they can pay, so real operators can get paid, sure, whatever. I'm okay with it. If you want to make money in the free and open source and privacy space, and you do it in a private manner, all for it. I mean, companies need to operate. They have a business, and they need to be able to fund it. That's how capitalism works, baby. Well, Flux, yeah. The Flux coin. Yeah, the Flux coin. So from what I understand is, again, it's not really a tokenomics thing. I believe you can. I think the founder kind of explains it a lot better on how they do it. They're not like getting Flux coins to make money. I think it's a way how they pay operators. But Flux, yeah, it does look like a crypto rug pull bullshit. But I think the person who run on Flux has a better explanation of it. I think it's because they can't use Stripe or anything. They can't use they don't want to use major coin providers. I think they should just be able to accept Monero. That would make it easy. I would be less pissed about that because Monero's private. Monero's price has been until recently, pretty flat, so it's not fluctuating up and down. But I don't know. It's probably a business decision that they're making for whatever reason. But yeah, the Flux thing is retarded. For sure, they will still get a bag, bro. Yeah. But the biggest problem mainly is the fact that they could have taken Monero and just integrated it, and it would have been much easier. Both people will profit from the fact that Monero gets more adoption and continues to contribute to the circular economy. And the other problem that gets solved is you don't have to worry about payment linkability because it's Monero. I mean, until Monero is proven otherwise. Yeah, and the Monero devs won't pay you a bag to integrate it. Flux sure did. Yeah, they probably won't because they don't need to. Because Monero just works on its own in a sense. I'm not entirely sure the Flux integration with SimpleX. I would have to look deeper into it to see if they accepted a fat stack of money to integrate it for no reason. Partnerships don't always equal to exchanging of money. Sometimes two companies can have something aligned in principle and they work together, so why not combine together? It would have to be fundamentally a conflict of interest where it seems like they're just doing it for monetary gain. But I know they use the Flux servers because they don't want to rely entirely on AWS or Cloudflare, like a lot of companies do that are quote unquote decentralized. I'm looking at you, Solana, you fucking pile of shit. Fuck Solana. So the issue is a lot of these decentralized applications, they literally run on big AWS servers or they run on centralized servers, and they end up falling short when they have a massive outage. And it's like, I thought you were decentralized, my brother. And then AWS is like, I am the captain meme, and it's like, look at me, I am the captain now. Which is embarrassing. A lot of Web3 does this too. So it's not just them. It's a lot of Web3. It's like, cool, you guys use AWS. Fuck you. So if I could even defend it in a sense, if Flux made it financially easier for them to have alternative routing protocols and relays to operate on that isn't maintained by the big Amazon or Google Cloud, whoever the fuck uses that, I'm all for it, because I think that having less reliance on these bigger conglomerates that do not care about you is maybe better. I mean, Flux is really cheap cloud hosting. I've considered using it as like S3 backup, like for S3 buckets, but but I digress. I'm not. I wish there's a way I could do S3 at home and be efficient. Wow, 2 big Dolan hours. Awesome, guys. I appreciate y'all stopping by. We'll look more into messaging protocols. It looks like Signal is probably going to be one of the better options in terms of privacy. I will still be working on getting obtaining a private Google account. I think that it is important for people to have that as much as possible. Possibly maybe fuck around in some different areas to get that next level of privacy when it comes to running a Graphene OS for people that want to use the Google Play Store still. If not, maybe there are some other options that we have. I appreciate you all coming by and commenting on the video, and everyone, thank you for the time that you watch and the donations. Much love and appreciated. Don't forget to take out the trash tonight, otherwise you will have a smelly kitchen, and that is not good. All love and respect. I'll hope to see you guys in the next video. Appreciate you. You all have a good night.